Oh, no, it was better if you have a microphone. It's fine. Restream. No, restream no work. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so continue. Bolts, sprint, backlog. What do you have for capturing? Jeffrey into sign sprint. That goes there, and that goes there. Okay, so then we go to planning. Summary of changes. There we go. Okay, so what I'm working on right now is the event subscriptions. Tasks added, daily, in-app, email. So we can add a subscription. Does that just adds it there. If we try and add another task added, you can't do it. Okay, nice. Okay, I can edit that one, save that, and save changes. We'll put the parameter alerts back later. Let's see what happens here now. Hit save. Okay. An error code will say the entity changes. Type check. Okay, so we did send a payload. Oh, no, that's not. That's not. Stony, hello. How you doing? Welcome in. That's not correct. That's not what we want. Okay. Doing good. Doing good. It's Tuesday. Rambling Geek, hello. How are you? May you have a fantastic stream today, Mr. Eagle. How's your productivity been? I tried to watch on Sunday and then got obviously I was watching Formula One as well, but then I got distracted. So I was kind of just hanging out. So how did things go? No geeking yesterday, not sure about today. Hanging out with some. Nice. Well, that's very important. Family time is important. Okay, so that did not feed that's not what that should be. Event parameters are not them. I need to present a different object there. So I'm not capturing channel. Oh, because that doesn't care about channel. Channel goes to subscription. That's a whole different thing. Very extensive task list, and computer goes bare on them pretty well. Phil's ended up giving me his TV login, so he had some racing show. I did see that you had that, but obviously, yeah. Starting streams, nice. Thanks, Stoney. Appreciate it. Appreciate that very much. This shouldn't go to the notification. This should go to the subscription. So the way this works is when the notification returns, that gives me a subscription ID. or it should give me a subscription ID. And yeah, that ID I then go to communications with and register the fact that I care about this subscription. Right. And this needs to be modified to accept channels. So we've got a little bit more work to do here first. As part of this. This is where planning helps. So by not planning a little bit more before starting this, because I was excited to do this, I kind of screwed that up. So the idea is that if you want to add, there's two different types of notifications, right? There's parameter alerts and event subscriptions. So parameter alerts will allow you to say, hey, I care about these things happening on this object, as in these values changing from this to this, from this to this, so you can track like fields changing that you care about. This is things happening that you care about. This is interesting that it's giving me such a extensive list, being that I can't support 99% of them. Well, can't support 100% of them right this second. But yeah, task added, task completed. So yeah. So on a weekly one, you set which day and what channel. On a daily one, you set which channel. Yeah. I also had Claude do a review of the styling of the site, and the themes had drifted. So I created a document to get the themes on track, because then I could feed that into Claude Design so that my design in Claude Design looks a little bit more accurate. Because I think it was starting to drift a little bit too much. Yeah. So, yes. So what I need to do is I need to go and change. Yeah, it's random every time. Create LSF3 for the UI pieces, right? So that's the initial pieces of the UI. But we now need to modify the subscription to contain I need to keep pointing to the default on that one. Very strange. So notifications carries that, but communications, which is on MongoDB, because this carries the changes. So this is a different shaped object, right? Why does this carry changes? I don't think this needs changes. I just need interesting. I think I might have carried too much into here. Yeah, I think I've got some responsibilities overlapping. I mean, it's good that it's tracking them, but at the same time, yeah, okay. Delta, good morning. So this is meant to register that you have a subscription. And in the application, subscription configuration, you register a subscription. But where does that go to? That doesn't make sense. Why is that communications infrastructure? Oh, because I have infrastructure for email and infrastructure for storage. That's why that's what that way. Gotcha. We'll review that naming convention later. Doing DIY. So look, maybe thank you very much for the luck. Appreciate it. Hope you're well today. Um, Notification subscriptions. Okay, so this just I don't have a subscription yet, so that's all that is. So what we need to do is we need to change this domain. Subscription needs to contain with it a I don't know. This doesn't care. This just cares about the how. It's not this side that actually does care. It is the no, I'm right. I'm right. It's this side that does care about the how. This builds up the actual content of the notification. This doesn't care about the when. So on here, we need to add, because this is Mongo, I don't need to do any migration or schema change. I can just capture this public string. Actually, uh, this is notification. That is a shared kernel thing. So, um, string value, base value. Forget you can do it that way. So this needs public static communication method. Email equals new email. It's push. I suppose like in app is actually the right thing to say there because how I do it is not the we come to use it as push, but in-app messaging is more appropriate because I might use all manner of things. I might use like a inbox method in the application, not a push notification. So the technology doesn't matter. It's an in-app notification. Uh, yeah, but I mean, it's still in the client with Signal R. A push to the client so it pops up and does something is kind of a standard at this point, right? But and that's why we call them a push notification. But the actual, yeah. So again, I can have communication method, carrier pigeon, right there, and yeah. So for right this second, override uh, public static implicit operator communication method. I'm going to the software unconference on Friday. I don't. I don't think I understand the unconference thing. I don't. I don't get it. Yeah. What do you do at an unconference? I assume it's virtual. Why doesn't the idea is the best conversations are in the hallways of conferences. So that becomes the conference. So people host topics. Everyone goes and talks about that topic. Right. Okay. Um, this is at this point a really common thing to do. I fear that this is something that I want to track. Oh, that's an explicit. Why don't I have that as an implicit? Is the question. We'll worry about that later. But either way, this is because you can't override this at the base. That's why. Okay, makes sense. So this looks like this, and frequency fields is just that. That's communication method. That's that, and then public sealed class invalid communication method exception. That's fine. That's and that takes method. So this will allow me to track on the subscription. I can have communication method. That becomes method. What don't you like there? You don't like email. We'll default to email for right this second. That's fine. That's not a rule that's going to be very easily seen, but it's fine. And then on the database configuration, builder.property p goes to method as conversion. Yeah, string, right? And then that's just um, uh, what's that one? Has conversion. Gotta find another. So that's toString. Okay, so I need to override toString. That's fine. And that's possible null reference. And that's because it's implicit. It'll do it, but so on communication method here, if we do public static implicit operator string, method.value. This returns the internal string, and then this can do that. And then we just need public override toString to guarantee we're doing the right thing there. Okay, so that should make that go back and forth into the database properly. I actually I don't know if Mongo would actually require that. I think Mongo might actually have just done the conversion straight up. But let's not stress that one. Register subscriptions. So now on here, we need command. It's funny because the code base has been evolving for years. Oftentimes you don't get to review your evolution in that way of how you write, what you write, like what your opinions are, your style, your design, etc. You don't get to review that as an individual when you're building small apps here and there. And when you're working in larger products, obviously your style doesn't really shine through, or shouldn't shine through anyway, over everybody else's. So being able to go back and review 2+ years of developing on this, I get to see I've changed my opinion on how I should do that. I don't like that naming. Why did I do it that way? And it's kind of interesting to see that evolution of just me as a developer in that time, how I've changed and adapted to different conventions, etc. It's that's an interesting name, but it's fine. And then we should be able to do method equals command.communication method. Because it's a string, it will be implicitly cast to that. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that evolution. And I like the reflection. So that's just registering the subscription right a second, but now this will need a string communication method. And that's going to take request content by communication method. And that's going to get called request. Actually, we're going to start doing that test. I mean, technically, both of those are required. So let's start using some model binding. Let's still use that, so that's fine. I'm testing something there. Okay, so we can stop that running, and we can explain to the robots and saving the notification. So we still need to deliver on this one. We still need to deliver public string day of week. That still needs to get passed in. I got my robots to be more concise since the new models seem to be extremely verbose. Yeah, I mean, I do have rules in place that I kind of say, don't overly explain, don't go on and on. Yeah, so much reading involved in as part of dev that is wearing me down lately. Well, I mean that's why I don't enjoy using them as much, because I'm not a big. I don't like walls of text. I never have done. I don't like because it's super technical jargon a lot of the times, and that's not the way I trained. I probably find it a little bit harder to read when they're talking about when it goes into the technical implementation solidly, like the that becomes really hard to just get through, because I'm like, well, just give me the thing I want to do. Like, show me the code. Let's talk about the code. But um, yeah, plan is definitely useful. I normally put it into plan mode. Um, but still, it's the walls of text and the. I mean, I suppose if I read it and I start to like understand how it's talking to me, then at least that's helping train me a little bit better on jargon, um, jargon that I've avoided for 30 years, uh, because I like to just code and build things. I don't care if we put a shiny label on it to make us all sounding smart. So yeah, that's in notifications API. Work pointer to output libraries that rephrase the output. Yeah, it's still going to give me walls of text if I to need it all explained. And the end days, like, I'm not going to read it all. I want it to do something. The proof is in the pudding, as such. And also, just because it gives you a wall of text doesn't mean that's actually what it'll implement. Because by the time it goes to implement it, it's not necessarily going to do the exact same thing because of the uh, slightly random nature of it. When saving the notification, there are two calls. First, the notifications API. I just mm, Roger, good morning. What else do we pass wrong for? Property, no, channel email, that's fine. um, let's make it do that first. What are you trying to test for, though? Just to see if it's fun yet. So I need to. Why did this fail before? Entity descriptions for new role for relation. Detail redacted, that's fine. New role for relation, entity subscriptions. Violates check, constraint, entity descriptions, type check. New row. Entity subscriptions. Previous iterations what to do, so I made a bunch of changes to make it seem more unpleasant. Seem more pleasant. So you're trying to design to test your knowledge in testing. What's the end goal? What you say it's fun and research based now. What's the end goal to determine? I get why asking Mojo to do it. Mojo picks you up a little bit more than I do. Find blind spots in people's knowledge. I just didn't ask you because you're coding like this guy. I'm not offended at being asked. Not asked. I know Mojo is a little bit more challenging for you. I'm like, yep, that looks good, and I don't give you that much feedback. Mojo is more engaging, but yeah, I'm just interested in what you. I mean, yeah, the feedback is what I'm looking for. He told me it sucked. Gotcha. How could? So I just told the robot you register a notification. When you register a notification, you're going to get a GUID back. You then call subscriptions, right? And it says which endpoint is call one. Like, what field should carry the channel in the second? Register communication method. I'm going to be more explicit about it rather than call it channel. I'm also purposely iterating on the questions themselves because that portion of the app has to be A plus for the website to be useful at all. Gotcha. Yeah. I just find it interesting, like your quest for your quest for knowledge is interesting. Like the paths you take and the way you do it, and I'm not sure. Um, yeah, so testing. Yeah, I'm motivated to learn for some reason. I find it real. I mean, I think to be in this profession and not be motivated a little bit by learning would be kind of sad, if I'm honest. Um, I think what we do requires us to constantly learn and understand. Um, like for me though, it's so I guess I get a little confused because for me, what I determined was my path was to make sure that I wasn't just following what other people expected because they said it was wrong or they said it should be done this way, and to build the software that makes sense to me. That's kind of the path I chose 10 or so years ago. And everything I do is more revolved around how do I improve me with what I'm using, rather than focusing on a billion different things. Like, oh, I could go investigate Go, I could go investigate Rust, I could go investigate Swift, I could go investigate, right? I could build all over the place and build different things and try and grow that way. But what I decided to do is focus more on my general understanding of application architecture and start to build out. Um, and then when I found Kafka and stuff, I got really interested in learning a little bit more about distributed systems. But again, I'm trying to build within my ability and within my knowledge, and then grow that piece. Whereas, like, you seem driven more by just general understanding of how people do things and why they do things, and focusing on the improvement and the process stuff. So just interesting. We all have our different directions, right? Um, Got that change from how to do it to what to build. It's definitely more into learning about the frameworks themselves early on. What should be built is like a higher level concern that hadn't occurred to me yet. Yeah, I mean, when we're early on um, in our careers, we're taking on that much information and we don't know what to do or how to use it. Um, like, I suppose my specialization is starting to definitely become, how do I make a team more productive, and how do I, and that's not just because of my current career and my current trajectory, I suppose. That's been a desire for a long time. Is I see the communication challenges. I understand what gets in the way, and how do I make that better? And my way is through software, right? My approach is through software. So that's why I'm building this, because it helps me um, understand bit by bit. So learning React or whatever, I think my next focus was which framework should I pick. Now both of those topics hold little interest to me. Yeah, to me again, it's not frameworks that matter. It's the hows. It's the how do we build something that makes sense? How do we build something that can be maintained, and how do we make sure we can communicate that to the business and make sure that we're building the right thing? And when we get it wrong, how do we make sure we're not invested in the wrong thing? Because yeah, so I suppose my path has taken me more towards, I care about making developers productive, and I don't care how they do that necessarily, more that they're capable and comfortable doing it. So I need to, communication method goes there, notifications. Notifications are the issue though, that's the problem. Ah, where are you? Oh, that refreshed, that's the problem. Let's run that again. 42. Hmm. Um, Techos, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Um, okay, let's get this up and running again. Let's see what happens. So it's still going to error because it still need the original error to hit, but I need to just go through. That was going to be entity type, events, entity subscription. If you are new to the stream, if you have any thoughts, questions, opinions, you're more than welcome to share. I am currently working on building out a notification system in my application, and testing that. So, but if you have any questions, you want to talk about software development, you want to talk about things, then you are more than welcome to, and I will join in. Ah, it's bugging me. So the first time that doesn't load. So that's suggesting that that doesn't do, that uses the local store, but it gets tasks. Hi, more power. How you doing? Welcome in. Okay, so planning in progress. Doesn't matter what I put this on. Notifications, add event subscription, tasks added, daily, email. Save that. Okay, so that failed. Oh, please tell me you didn't. No, no, okay, it didn't. It errored properly. Okay. Entity subscriptions violates check constraint. Entity subscriptions violates check constraint. Oh, I think that frequency is the problem. Frequency is either immediate, daily, or weekly. Modify table. I think there's a check constraint. No, the type has the constraint. Event or parameters. That's fine. That's what's missing. Darren, welcome in. How you doing? Hope you are well. Uh, so this is likely. I am passing from the application. I am passing the subscription, subscribe, create event subscription. I am not passing the type properly. So, oh no, event type. Event type comes in as a nullable string. That's not, no, it's that one that matters, type. And type is being passed in as payload deliverable. Yeah, that's not quite the same thing. That's not what I need. Also, slash ads. Huh? You can't get ads. You're a subscriber. Good morning. How are thou? Thou is fine. How about thyself? Rep to the library, and I think that's advertising. I'm confused. I'm missing something. What's I'm not sure what's advertising. uh, okay. I think of React as a framework. I just make a joke about how React calls itself a library. I don't care what it calls itself. The differentiation to someone who's picking it up, they just want to build something, then they're going to pick it up and call it what they need to call it. Finally feeling back to myself after a crappy few weeks. They're going to work come out today. Well, I'm glad you're feeling back to yourself, Darren. Sorry you had a crappy few weeks, but get some coding done. So this doesn't know which direction it's heading in. That's the problem, because we don't have command type passed in, because at the, so we're not selecting that event type. We're not indicating in here that it is an event, are we? We can infer it by the fact we have an event type. Should we infer it? Or should the client tell us? So the issue is that we are not passing in this value into the command. So if we look at the endpoint and we subscribe, request type is not the same thing. Because we subscribe to deliverable all the time right this second. Request type is actually deliverable. Whereas it should be, so it actually is genuinely failing because there's a constraint on the actual table that says that has to be parameters or event. So let's modify that to say, because we go to /deliverable. So yeah, so let's modify the type we pass in when creating the notification prescription is either event or parameters. Did I close that down? I did. Modify table, parameters or event. Yeah, okay. We could infer it by the fact that we have an event type set in there. So the type is kind of inferred by the event type. If that's populated, then it's a event style subscription. But let's go this path for right now and we'll review that later. So what I'm doing right this second is I'm trying to build out this. So the idea of this is that you'll be able to say, okay, I want to say I need to be told about tasks added immediately via in-app. So if I go in here, I want to add event subscription, tasks added immediately in-app, right? But I also want to be told about tasks completed weekly on a Friday by email, right? So I want a rich notification system around this so you can be told about the things you care about as when you want to care about them. So if you start getting notifications for something and it's completed or whatever, then obviously this needs cleaning up. But the idea being that while it's in progress, you can actually notify yourself of things happening about the thing. So that is the goal right this second. Actually, we need to go back over here. Wow, you are irritating. I had that working. I know I had this working because I've gone through so much trying to get this working. It's a modal in a modal. Don't know what the better design for that would be, however. Oh, I know. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that should be there. But again, in my vein of trying to get yeah, so a model and a model is a challenge, but yeah, no one should care about the opinion of React devs. Dear, we need to remove changes. Can select to be notified and set parameters. So the missing requirement here is, by the way, that I should be able to see the list of parameters. Again, that's an implicit thing. Each to their own. Whatever makes you productive is what matters. Johnny Ash, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in. So, if you haven't been here before, this is Kaizu. This is my project management planning application that I've been working on for a few years now. This is Kaizu. The intent being that you can track work in a slightly different way. I'm happy to go into it if you're interested in knowing more about it. Right now, what I'm working on is a notification system to allow you to drill down into what you care about. Yeah, there's no view. So tasks added, I want to be told daily. I want to be told by email, add that subscription. Right this second, let's see if this subscription adds. Boom. Event type tasks added, type event. A new role related detail. Type check. Well, I put in event. What more do you want from me? I think that's probably not passing that the right path. We'll worry about day a week afterwards. That's another challenge. Let's get this. Let's see what happens. Add event subscription, tasks added, email. Ooh, that broke it. Daily email, add subscription, save. Okay. So yeah, if you are new to the stream, if you have any thoughts, questions, opinions, please feel free. I don't care if you've been doing this for years or you're a new developer. You're always the floor's always open to ask any questions. There is also a Discord linked in the cards below that you're more than welcome to join, both on YouTube and on Twitch. And all streams go to YouTube, so you can catch up on hundreds of days of development of this application specifically. I'm interested to hear your breakdown. I'm a full stack web developer, but everything is so much AI these days. I feel like more like a manager than a programmer. I get that. I get that. So Kaizu is a bit of a mix. Right, the second I do use AI when dealing with the front end because it is not my forte. I can build front end. I can build Angular code. It's just that it's way quicker to get some of the vision out there using AI. On the back end, I handwrite all the code. That is by design. And yeah, event. So we're going in there with event type. And we set it. We blinking set it. Type event. And you're going to give me a constraint check. Detail redacted, that's fine. So it's failing on the type check. Yeah, I get the AI thing. It is something that I am still trying to navigate the usage of. I think it is definitely a challenging time. Mr. Ranhorn, hello. That's an unusual emote for you to come in with, but yeah. What is your vision for this project management tool? What problem does it solve for you personally? I am in New Jersey, yes. Even though my accent might not tell you that. Okay, so Kaizu is aimed at improving communications without meetings. Basically, that's my goal. My goal is to make sure that people can understand what the progress is on things without in their own area of the system. So they don't need to go into other people's parts to understand where things are heading. So without meetings, that's the long-term goal, Mojo. That is the goal. So the idea being that as executive teams come up with ideas, they can build out these initiatives, and these initiatives would be they could be small, they could be large. It's up to them how they do them. But the idea is that they kind of go through discovery phase and make that visible to the process, right? So they can track it, they can add collaborators on there so people can be told about things happening. They can even put suggested timelines in there so people know where they're heading with these things. there's a required goal on our business objective on every initiative, so that this is what we're trying to do. This is the thing we're trying to achieve, so that's visible down the line when people start creating other stuff. So again, more about communicating the why and the what. Right? What are we building and why are we building it? Right? Those two things matter a lot. So trying to make that front and center. From initiatives, planning becomes the thing where the product managers, uh, product owners, etc., can build out what they want to see. Like, how do they want it to be, how they want it to work, etc. And they do that through defining requirements against deliverables. So deliverable can be a small little thing, it can be a massive thing, right? It can be a long-winded epic in terms of Jira talk, but it is more about what they want to see, not about how it's done, right? The how is not the concern of this realm. The what and the why are the concern. So on an individual deliverable, what is the goal of this deliverable? Why are we doing this thing, right? So again, from a development perspective, we care about what we're building. We care about the how we build it, but the what and the why go into building that up, right? So these requirements are just that. They are just requirements. This is what I want to see. And again, these can be granular. They could have one requirement. You can have 10 requirements. Depends on how you break them down. And from the product manager's perspective, in progress shows here's all the deliverables that are currently in flux, what state they're in. That's with development. That means that's going through more planning. That's in progress. That's in progress. That's in progress. And that's in progress. And you can set a review date on every single thing to say, I care about it, but not yet. So like this one's sample deliverable in progress. It needs attention because it's past the date. I can go in here and I can move that date back because I know I've checked on it. It's fine. Let's check on it again next month. And now that'll worry about that. So yeah, Lady of Code, thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate it. Hope you are well. How was your stream? We raid. How's things going? Went well, thank you. More productive than usual, which is weird. How are things going? Things are going well. I'm currently working on Kaizu, my product management application. I was just doing a quick walkthrough of the whys. Kaizu for the fifth time. That's fine. I'm used to this. I'm used to showing off, as I've recently been told. Kaizu is a large distributed system, so there's lots of moving parts in it. So, yeah, that's the overall system architecture of Kaizu. So what I'm just going through is the idea of a product manager being able to see what they need to care about and being able to move those back when they've reviewed them, etc. So they move up, and they should be paying more attention to the things that needs attention. When you get to actual development, once a product manager is ready for a deliverable to be reviewed, they mark it as ready for review and it appears in this side. So now we're in implementation. So now CEOs, CTOs, product managers, etc., live in initiatives and planning, right? Those two areas are where they live. Everything they do needs to be in there. So visibility into what they care about is in there. Implementation and delivery are in the realm of development, QA, DBAs, DevOps, etc. Those are the actual how do we do these things, right? So that's really the focus there. So when a deliverable is ready for review, it gets shown here. So now developers on those teams that are relevant for this deliverable can go in here and say, oh, this is coming up. We can have a look at this now. Let's have a look through and see what they're asking for. So they can give feedback. They can ask questions. They can dig more into that before it even gets to them for planning. And then once it's with development, the product manager said, yeah, you're good with this? And they say, yeah, we're good. We can take that over and start working through it and adding the tasks. So now, from a work perspective, developers add the tasks. Those are the technical things. Those are the hows. Those can be technical. They can be small. They can be large. And then managed through a backlog, and then boards, These are Kanban boards right now, not sprint boards, but we'll not pick hairs. Um, sorry. Um, and then they can work on these things and they can push to GitHub, and all that's tracked. So, and again, these can be very technical in nature. So right now I've got three in flux because I'm working on the same thing from three different aspects, right? And then once we're ready for releases, we can plan releases. So these are the tasks that currently go in release. If I want to say, okay, well, we need LSB7, LSB8, and LSF4 to go in there. Now they're in the release and it shows in progress. So from a release perspective, I know what state the release is in. And the idea is that you assign a release manager, not a manager, a release owner, sorry. I want to make sure that I'm being clear. I think that should not be necessarily a manager. There should be no authority. They're just tasked with making sure they understand what the release is and what's in it. So you can see the PRs that have been merged. Oop, that's not going to work. And track it through there. So yeah, I am actually using this right this second poorly, but I am using it to track the work that I'm currently doing. So these are genuinely pieces I'm working on right this second. So yeah, if there's any questions, thoughts, opinions, you're more than welcome. Yeah, this is 2 years in. I'm over 2 years into Kaizu at this point. Catching up is starting to look good. Welcome in, Deck. Thank you for joining again. Some people say these boards are the same. I mean, I could go infinitely, right? There's lots of different things I could do. Right this second, what I'm working on is when you have a deliverable, you might want to be told about things, right? This will work for other things, initiatives, tasks, etc. Eventually, but to be able to enrich the system, to be able to enrich that visibility thing, what I want to do is allow you to say, okay, well, I care if people add tasks, so let me know immediately with an in-app notification. However, on a weekly basis, I want to know if any requirements were changed via email, right? So being able to give you this ability to flex what you see and when you see it is a big part for me. I think it can manage any project. I'm focused on software development because that's what I do, right? So what I want to do is get it to a point where people can test it. So I think that once I've got this notifications thing, and this is kind of the vision thing, once I've got the structure of it in there, I think that I should focus on getting it delivered to somewhere where people in my back. Nope. Let's see, on my back. That says I'm back though. Well, that's not fun, is it? Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. Um, yeah, OBS just went, nope, I'm done. Sorry about that. Yep. Um, excuse me, we still have 22 minutes of stream time. Yes, I apologize. Okay, so I actually got a new YouTube subscriber as well. Thank you. I'm on the latest. I normally update to the latest. I'm not scared of any updates. Although things like that. That's the first time in a long time I've had any issues with OBS, by the way. Um, yeah, so thank you. Okay, so where was it? So notifications is the kind of the big. This is a lot about my vision of this application is to give that um, visibility into the progress and things. So even on these, my intention is to put a board in here and show you all the tasks and where they sit in progress. Because QA tasks, DevOps tasks, they'll all get attached to this deliverable. So you'll know, even if they're in the same team or different teams, this will join them all together, right? So it'll show you the team they're on. So the QA team could be independent of the development team and still have tasks associated with this thing. So you can see all the tasks by team, etc. So this view will get enriched later. But again, it's about, from a product management perspective, how do I see this? So I expect to have a board and show the Kanban boards, like, you know, in there. So that's why this view, right? The deliverables views looks like this. This isn't drag and drop. This is just showing you where things sit, and this is for the development team to review, so they know, oh, these things are things I need to look at. These are things that we're actually working on or working on planning. We might want to go and take a look at these things. So I expect team members to be looking at these things without direction, without wow, my bit rate is terrible. It's showing all red. Okay. So yeah, the goal is very much visibility. Initiatives, again, will get enriched later. This is kind of the basics of the initiatives. But again, this will show them from a board's perspective where the deliverables sit, right? Okay. So they're meant to be able to see, oh, these deliverables are actually in progress. This initiative looks like it might hit its goal, right? Okay, looks fine on my machine. So yeah, there's a lot more to do. But again, from a demonstration perspective, what I want to do is I want to get this out to people. However, the challenge will be there is I'll be delivering it to people as potentially solos, right? And it's really a product built for teams. So that's going to be the challenge, but we'll see. And I'm open to ideas and opinions. If you have feedback on things I've shown, you're more than welcome to share. Despite all the random stuff, I'm still following along. So, notifications, big focus for right this second. That's where I'm heading. And again, it's a .NET application. The back end is all .NET. The front end is Angular. I did build the first iteration in Angular completely by hand. And then once AI started becoming a bit more popular, I realized that I could use AI to do the design and the front end pieces because it would get me there faster and show the idea. My long-term goal is, if I can make this a product, would be to hire a designer and rebuild the entire front end, it looking more professional. So yeah. How unrealistic is it to live off of SaaS? Assume my expenses are low. To live off SaaS? I mean, if you could get the subscribers, I think it's realistic to live off it, depending on your pricing. But you know, you have to have, because you have to cover costs. Like for this application, the biggest thing for me would be costs, like infrastructure costs, because I've decided to go on this adventurous journey of I'm going to learn more about how I'm building distributed systems, right? So that's going to be a challenge, right? How do I deliver dozens of databases? How do I deliver dozens of services, use all these technologies, etc.? That's going to be challenging. So yes, dozens of services across all these pieces. Yeah. The stack running right now is 23 services. I mean, it can be deployed to a Kubernetes cluster, absolutely, and the resources can be kind of low, but there's dozens of DBs there as well. Well, there's not dozens of DBs. There's a dozen DBs right this second. Um, yeah, 14 DBs there. 13 minus Postgres. So now, and I can put these in schemas. I don't need to put them in different databases if I don't need to. But that's going to be the challenge, the cost. So yeah. So anyway, any questions, thoughts, opinions? And again, you're more than welcome to join the Discord. I do hang out there in several times a week, and I'm always open to a chat. I mean, in voice chat, I hang out in voice chat. Could run off a single VPS now. In this current phase, probably yes, but yeah. So using Postgres for DB, I'm curious, have you heard of Spacetime DB? I have not heard of Spacetime DB. Let's go on a bit of a okay. Rock solid foundation for AI agents to build on. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Notifications, add event subscription. Why are you still failing on that constraint is the question. um, click on the right things. Click on the right things. That's it. There you go. You can use your mouse. So for right now, why won't that work? Parameters or event? That constraint is failing, but I definitely passed event there. TLDR, they were making a game engine and accidentally made a real fast DB that does TypeScript calling inside the DB. Huh. Probably was. So like, but they start with that rock solid foundation for AI. Your server code is embedded into the database. Mm. One system replaces your entire stack, so it's an everything. That just sounds terrifying. From a dependency perspective, that sounds terrifying. From a security perspective, that sounds like that's going to be an interesting challenge. Spacetime is pretty cool. I'm really thinking of using it as the underlying integration for my game platform when I do the next platform rewrite. Fair enough. That just doesn't sound like I want to do that. That's maybe just years of working the way I've worked, but puts everything in the data store. Yeah. Distributed programming, very similar to Hadoop. Their claim to fame is that, but how does that scale? Like in terms of cost, what does that look like when everything's there? That's no web server, ORM, cache, networking, or sync layer to stand up. Space time is all of it. So your agent has one thing to build, and that's the thing. So your agent has one thing to build. This is to not have conflict between what the agent's building in which piece of the technology. It just does it all in one place. I just want to know, like, that's Zero bottlenecks. That's how can you say zero bottlenecks? There's going to be a bottleneck somewhere in there, but it's assuming that your agent is putting the code in there, which is why it's AI focused. Yeah. Kavix, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in. I'll have to watch the video because I mean I still think it's very important for me as a developer to try and pay attention to some of these things because it does. You don't want technology sneaking up on you, right? And to stay marketable, to stay current is necessary. Even if I zero ball, yeah. I think it's really useful to keep in. I agree with the initial assessment that building on that with more traditional setups would be a weird hurdle. Yes, it's very much built for that. So, okay. Is that what we're called? Oh man. What the heck? Um, okay. Sorry. Um, I'm not suggesting Switcher. It's the newest thing I've heard of with databases, which is not the most interesting topic. No, I agree. It's okay to get suggestions, and I think that's a good. This is a good way. This is why I like the stream. Um, so more power. I have pretty strong filters on language on my stream. I apologize. We're all adults, but uh, that's why it held your message, and I can't actually. Uh, the actual description of the product is in tiny font in the footer. It's hilarious. Like they know they didn't explain stuff proper above. Maybe someone insisted they should explain it, but marketing didn't care until they made a fuss. That's what More Power said, and I agree. I think it was um yeah, I really should relax them at this point. I when I first started streaming, I again, as you can tell, my stream doesn't have music. I don't have bots running. I don't have a lot of entertaining things on there. The stream is just me coding or talking about code and just doing stuff. Right? It's not. I don't do anything else. So what I did when I first started streaming is I really kind of restricted it because I treat it as a professional outlet, right? This is me professionally. Good or bad, right or wrong, it's me professionally. So I kind of cut the language down. I probably should relax it at this point. People don't genuinely swear as much as or be rude as much as yeah. Can't be using my New Jersey words up in here. I draw. How you doing? Um yes. And well, that's also an interesting thing in these days. Like SEO ranking. What does SEO ranking mean in a world of bots scraping things? How does it change it? Family friendly is pretty attractive as a genre. Yeah, so I've always gone, and also my daughter did watch my stream when I first started, so and she was little. But I also just again I just treat it as a professional outlet, and things have changed in the interim years. COVID changed a lot about how people treat professionalism. A lot. Why you don't? I need to refresh that as well. So here's what I'm tempted to do. we're going to delete this. We're going to delete that type check for right a second. I've got it in code. It's fine. Let's see what happens. Let's just at least see if we can get that in there. I can worry about learning about constraints later. It's not my primary focus. Add subscription, save that. That. You still failed. Event parameter does not exist. Yeah, because I didn't pass any event parameters. Oh, I still passed event parameters. Why? Okay. Let's do this. Tell. So that should work. So again, what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to validate. So it's sending an event parameter. I don't think that would actually cause a problem. The command moment sounds through trace the stack call. What's happening is it is trying to. That's interesting that the file is parse relations. Oh, because it's in the Postgres world. So event parameters should be here. That would be property name and value. So that should still have been valid to do. And it was clearly trying to save it. So event parameters versus parameter subscriptions or subscription parameters. That's that. And that's. It's not even create, it's register or something, but yeah. So let's stop that running, build that again. Let's give it one more try. So a lot of this application is built because of things I wanted to test. So more than, I mean, yes, I want to make it a product. I think it is an idea that now, because again, I'm developing it as a solo dev. In the interim years, I've seen these features appear in other products. I'm not saying copied; they're natural. I think a lot of things are natural evolution of ideas, but it has become a big technology playground. This is a realistic size application. It does have a lot of complexity to it at this point. The actual workflow through anything is pretty simplistic because I've focused on making things very much single responsibility where possible, and using events to trigger side effects, etc., has allowed me to keep a handle on that. So, but for the most part, I do still enjoy getting into this code every single day. That's irritating me. Regular events or server-side events. Regular events. So these are events in this respect. So I have. No, Johnny. I laughed because yeah, there's no dumb questions. I kind of use events in many different ways. So I'm using Kafka to as a service bus slash eventing system. When data changes in any one of these modules, it publishes an integration event, as I've termed it, right? So the event goes to Kafka, and other systems can then react to that data. So there's no direct link between planning and Vue. So Vue over here has a GraphQL API in front of it, and that allows the client to see things. So as I save something, so like right now, I'm saving a notification. So that goes in here, goes to notifications, registers the information it cares about, which is, for the most part, just some basic information, but it is GUIDs, right? It doesn't care about, does that planning item exist? Does that deliverable exist? Does that task exist? It doesn't really care about that. It assumes that it's being told the right information. It then publishes that event to say, here's a notification, and now other pieces of the system pull that out, right? And they do what they need to do with those things. Similar, any single system. So there's an integration event, as I'm terming it. I am using Kafka right this second for some actual update events. So when the Vue receives new data, once it's saved that data and stored it, it does publish to say, hey, I've seen this, by the way, and I've got this, so that then the Signal RPs can pick that up and use that to push down to the client. So there's a Signal R hub set up, so I get eventing in that respect. So when things change in the background, the client can be told about them. So there's the events there. Internally, I use domain events. So when something changes, the way I react to the system, to things changing, is if I go to update a user, right? I just say update the user. There's no extra pieces there. There's no tell anybody anything. Nothing other than saving the update of the user is actually present there. What happens underneath is a domain event gets triggered to tell me Teams updated, and then I can subscribe to Teams updated in here. And that's using Signal, that's using mediator notifications because of a broadcast need. And then in here, I can do things like publish to Kafka, or I can do other things that react to that happening. When team membership was registered, I published the integration that a membership was added. But if it's the first one, then I do extra work, right? So I chain the behavior of the system together using the events. So that's why I'm saying, that's why I kind of laughed, is that there's events everywhere. Building the system out so that the system is very reactive. It's not one of, so you're figuring out your foreign key index keys after the data is written, so it's easy to push and pull the events. Yes. So my primary focus and the primary focus of every single system is first save the data the user gave me. Don't worry about what happens after the data's saved. Capture the data they gave me and then give them back what they need so they can continue on, because I can do everything else in reaction to that thing happening. If there's validations and stuff, that's a whole different thing, but validation is somewhere else right this second. So if the data doesn't make sense, then I failed there. Not to be confused with Ferdinand de Saussure's signified versus signifier. I think of event handlers as more JS, and SSC as a specific C-based handler. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I'm using mediator notifications. I'm using SignalR. I'm using Kafka. I did actually have service bus in there as well, because I actually don't like using Kafka as a service bus. I don't like doing, hey, like point-to-point commands in Kafka, because Kafka is really built for broadcast of information, in my mind. So yeah. So yeah, it's just I prioritize saving the data. I validate what I can at the right time and assume a lot of truth. So yeah, I'm just saying random things. Okay. So yeah. And by the way, there is more to Kaizu than, so Kaizu is split into two parts. This is generally referred to as Liquid Sky. You'll see the project name. I came up with that name. I never knew there was a movie, a strange 80s movie, that I still yet to watch. I keep getting reminded that it is a movie and I should watch it. One day trap, I will do. And then control tower is the backend piece. So when a user signs up to the system, it triggers an event to say tenant. Well, it doesn't trigger an event. It triggers a tenant record appearing in Kafka. The control tower system picks that tenant record appearing up and says, do I have a subscription for this? No. Okay, register a brand new empty subscription and then publish a subscription back. And then this side of the system holds that subscription. So when you go to log in, if you have a valid subscription, you can now access the system. So this will be the back end management piece. That's always the best when you hear there's a movie named after something you brought up. Yeah. Apparently it's a very strange movie as well. So one day I'll just have to sit down and watch it. It's not a big popular movie. So yeah, but that's generally how this works. So again, in these notification things, the notifications, when I save the notification, this listens to changes. So as changes come through, it says, "Oh, do I care about this? Do I have a subscription for this?" Yes, I do. Okay, let me publish a notification event out, and now the communications piece picks that up and says, "Oh, you've got a subscription, and now you want an email for this." So I'll build the actual message body based upon what notifications provided me, and then I'll publish you an email. So that's kind of how it's going to work. So the system is very much the sum of its parts, but each part has a purpose, and I can switch out. I can use different technologies in here if I want to. If I find there's a technology that's faster or whatever, I can use that. I'm not bound to a database technology on any one piece. I'm not bound to anything on any one piece other than can it interact with an API and can it interact with Kafka, and everything can plug in. It also gives me the opportunity to swap things out if I need to. So if I need to rebuild something, I can build something in parallel, even put that into production and consume all the events the regular one would do, and test it and verify it before I even put it live. So I can do a lot to make sure the system's doing the right thing if I want to swap it out. So if I want to make a second notification system that does it in a wholly different way, I can put that into production, have that running and producing things. I just don't publish them to the same things, and I can see it in parallel. So there's a great flexibility to that. So that's one. So anyway, let's do one more try of that, and then we'll wrap up for today. And yeah, sadly throughout the week, I only stream twice a week during the weekdays for an hour and a half, 7 well 8:30 normally. So I'm a little bit over today because I'm a yapper. But I have been managing to stream on Saturdays, which has been very good. So add subscription, save that, and that's saved. Okay, we might have ended the stream on a success. So no parameters. There's our thing. Yep. So the question there is, so we have an event, tasks added, frequency daily. Yeah. I have to get to work. Look, hang on. Johnny, thank you very much for stopping by. I hope to see you again soon. Yeah, undeliverable. Okay, so we now have an entity subscription, and we should have a communications subscription, I think. Yep, notification subscriptions. So there we go. So now we're capturing that we're going to send an email for that subscription. Yes, there we go. Okay, that's a great end to the stream. So I'm going to continue on this. LT Space Times is actually pretty cool, even if it's probably niche. It's always worth understanding what a technology does and how it does it to learn different things. So yeah, great. So anyway, more power. Thank you very much for joining me again. I appreciate it. Although it could help here too, so I get why it was linked. It's definitely. I think I've watched the video. I think I'll go find the video afterwards and understand it, because I don't understand the whole being one application inside of a data store. Yeah, that's slightly confusing, but yeah. Anyway, okay, who are we going raiding? We're going to raid Stony Eagle. So caution, Stony Eagle does play music. Stony Eagle's language is much different. That sounds mean. Stoney's an awesome streamer, a really friendly guy, and always happy to talk and also learn. So also don't forget, if you are interested in development streams, maybe also develops applications on stream. He develops Barely Fit primarily. Barely Fit is a health and fitness application which is published to the Apple and the Google Play stores, and is available now. Yeah, maybe he's very inspiring. Amazing developer, great streamer, and yeah, so I highly recommend checking him out. And yeah, so let's go raid Stony. Stony's working on No Mercy, which is an entire media application built around basically taking ownership of your media and being able to stream it to yourself wherever you are in the world. So definitely an interesting product that hopefully one day he'll actually manage to get to releasing properly. You can test it; it's available. But yes. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. I will be back on Thursday morning, same 7 o'clock Eastern. And yeah, so take care all. Thank you, and I'll see you again soon.